to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died. He rose again. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, this city is finally beginning to thaw out. The roads are looking a lot better. A lot better than last weekend when I got stuck in the snow going home from work 3 times. But the roads are looking a lot better, and it is going to rain early this week. So that rain should wash away any of the remaining lingering snow and ice, and I cannot wait for it to be gone, because it's beginning to be an eyesore. It's beginning to be an eyesore, seeing all that snow on the neighborhoods. It is just beginning to be an eyesore, and I gotta admit, I got pretty oppressed. Okay, just seeing that snow all around the neighborhoods and whatnot. That snow was an eyesore, and I'm just ready for God to bring down His rain and wash it out. All right. So the first time Dennis Rodman and Shaquille O'Neal met in the playoffs was 1996, Bulls versus Magic, Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, and so Dennis Rodman knows how to get under people's skin. Okay, one of the more better players, Alonzo Mourning. He easily got under Alonzo Mourning's skin. You saw that in the 1996 and 97 playoffs, right? He easily got under Alonzo Mourning's skin. And so Dennis Rodman and Shaquille O'Neal, they were sniping at each other in game 1, in game 2, game 3, game 4. And Marv Albert pointed that out during game 4 of the broadcast, okay? Because Dennis Rodman got a rebound, okay? And he got a rebound, and Shaquille O'Neal pulled on his leg. He hugged his leg, Dennis Rodman's leg, and Shaq got called for either a technical foul or a flagrant. I can't remember. And Marv Albert brought up the point that Dennis Rodman and Shaquille O'Neal were sniping at each other throughout the whole series, okay? And so Marv Albert said Shaquille O'Neal refers to Dennis Rodman as a, quote, gimmick, okay? And Dennis Rodman responded to that by saying Shaquille O'Neal will be a great player someday. Yeah, that's a sniper that was going back and forth. Shaquille O'Neal said Rodman was a gimmick, and Rodman countered by that by saying Shaquille O'Neal will be a great player someday. Yeah, so that's a sniper that was going back and forth between Rodman and O'Neal. Okay. So Mark Jackson, okay, spent his first 5 years with the Knicks, 1988 through 92, okay? And so Rookie of the Year, 1988, All-Star, NBA All-Star, his second season, 1989. Ironically, that's the year they draft Rod Strickland, and that didn't work, okay? But Mark Jackson fell out of favor with the New York Knicks fans and probably New York Knicks management too, because Reggie Miller bought this up when the Pacers acquired Jackson from the Clippers in 1995. Reggie Miller said he was wrongly done in New York, and we needed somebody who had knowledge of them, because Mark Jackson played 1 year for Pat Riley, okay? Pat Riley's first year was Mark Jackson's last year in New York, so he played 1 year with Pat Riley as his coach, okay? So I wrote down, I just jotted down a few notable things. Mark Jackson fell out of favor with the fans, probably some teammates and management, but he was booed in Game 5 of the 1989 Eastern Conference semifinals versus the Bulls, okay? And he had knee surgery in March of 1989, okay? And he took the summer to rest. Doctors were telling him to take the summer to rest. But in the process of doing that, he came to camp way out of shape, okay? Way out of shape. So he came to camp out of shape, and he pulled a muscle in the pre-season, okay? So, which forced him to miss even more time, okay? And so he and Rod Strickland were competing for minutes. That did sit well. And then the Knicks compounded the situation, right, by trading Strickland to the Spurs midway through the 1990 season for Maurice Cheeks, okay? And so eventually, as the 1990 season progressed, Stu Jackson sent Mark Jackson to the bench, and Maurice Cheeks was now a starter, okay? Right? So Mark Jackson even logged a few DNPs in the 1990 playoffs. Did not play, okay? But then, and this is just how much of a mess the 1991 New York Knicks were before Pat Riley came in, okay? Mark Jackson started the season as a starter, okay? He started the season as a starter for 1991. But eventually, Stu Jackson got fired 15 games into the season. So the Knicks replaced him with John McLeod as an interim head coach, right? And John McLeod prefers Maurice Cheeks, which sends Mark Jackson back to the bench. Okay? And so obviously he was performing so poorly that he was benched in favor of John Starks, okay? During one game, yeah. Apparently he was performing so poorly he was benched for John Starks one game. Okay, and there was talk that Al Bianchi, general manager, some of the coaches didn't like Mark Jackson, and what did I just say? John McLeod preferred Maurice Cheeks over Mark Jackson, okay? Saying that Maurice Cheeks provided more stability at point guard, okay? And so for the 1990-91 season, he averaged 8.7 points per game and 6.3 assists per game, okay? But he fell out of favor for some reason. He fell out of favor. Maybe it was because he wasn't in the best shape. Management changes, drafting Rod Strickland, then they compounded by trading for Maurice Cheeks midway through the 1990 season. Okay, so yeah, Mark Jackson was in a weird spot his first 5 years in New York, but when Pat Riley came in, he was the undisputed starter once again. Okay, yeah, so Avery Johnson probably had the most unusual early part of his NBA career, okay? He started with Seattle, okay? And he went to Denver, too. I'm going to show you his rookie card. Obviously, I don't have it right now, but I'm going to show it to you in a minute, okay? So, yeah, oh, okay, yeah. Avery Johnson had an unusual start to his NBA career, okay? He was with Seattle in the late 80s, then went to Denver for a short period of time, okay? He was cut on Christmas Eve by the Denver Nuggets, okay? Then he was cut on the day of David Robinson's wedding, okay? So he was cut by Denver on Christmas Eve, 1990. He was cut. This was during the 91 season, okay? 1990-91 season. He's cut by Denver. He signs with San Antonio. He goes to Houston. Then he re-signs with San Antonio for the 1992-93 season, okay? Then he goes to Golden State for the 1993-94 season. Then he returns back to San Antonio for the 1995 season, okay? And so when the Spurs retire, Avery Johnson's number 6, okay? When they retired as number 6, it said 1991 through 2001 as time he spent with the Spurs, okay? That's where the weird part of Avery Johnson's career comes in, because he came to the Spurs after being cut by Denver in 1991, came back to the Spurs in 1993, then came back to the Spurs again in 1995. So, yeah. Avery Johnson's first half of Avery Johnson's career was a weird time, okay? Nonetheless, Damon Stoudamire has some interesting things to say about Avery Johnson, okay? And he said that the San Antonio Spurs would never win a championship with Avery Johnson, much less get to the NBA Finals with Avery Johnson as their point guard. Those were the words of Damon Stoudamire. Well, remember the video that I did a couple of weeks ago where Damon Stoudamire missed that critical free throw? Okay. Then the Spurs ended up getting swept by the San Antonio. The Spurs ended up getting swept. The Blazers ended up getting swept by the Spurs, 4 games to none. And remember what Damon Stoudamire said: the San Antonio Spurs will never win an NBA championship, much less get to the NBA Finals with Avery Johnson. Well, what do you know? Spurs swept the Blazers, Avery Johnson's an NBA champion, and Damon Stoudamire doesn't win a championship his entire career. Okay, so who looks worse in that situation? I think we all know the answer to that. All right, that's it, and that's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am out of here. May God bless you all. Peace out.